Hey, this is Marcus Gustafsson from aetats.com, and today I'm going to give you a complete walkthrough how I made this Be Water movie.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
So this tutorial is going to be divided into three parts. First part, which is this part, is going to be syncing the sound, designing and animating. Second part is going to be making the water and the transition between the cup and the bottle. And the third part is going to be building the scene, adding the camera and animating the camera. So let's begin. So open up a new composition, name it Be Water. Going to use the same settings as I used in the Be Water movie, and import the sound, Be Water. Drag the sound to the timeline, press LL, turn up the volume. So here I see in the beginning there's no sound there, so I'm going to drag the layer to the left. And I'm going to play up the last 3 seconds in the sound.
Like that.
I see that.
So there's some sound we don't need there, so I'm going to cut that sound out. And we do that by trim come to work area. So now we're going to start syncing the texts to this sound.
Empty your mind. Be formless.
So we're going to type out be empty your mind and be formless. So empty your mind. Go to our audio layer, hold in Control while you scrub through the audio. So there's the beginning. Crop the layers.
Your mind.
That looks good. So we're going to pre-compose this. Go into Layer, Pre-compose. Name it Empty Your Mind. Press OK. Going to crop down the composition. And start typing out the Be Formless. Let's pre-compose this as well. Be formless. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause this recording and do the syncing for you so we can continue with the design. Right, so the syncing is done and this is what we got.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Empty your mind.
Right, so let's continue with the designing. Go into our Empty Your Mind composition. I'm going to choose a cool font. The original font I used seems to be gone from my computer, so we're going to use another font. And we're going to position this. I'm going to choose the position and copy and paste. I'm going to move it down. Copy and paste the position as well. So that looks pretty good. So let's add a background. Make a solid BG, comp size, make it black. put it beneath all the layers. And we're going to use an effect called ramp. So we go into generate and ramp. You can't see it, but it's there. Ramp. And we're going to choose radial ramp and move it to the center. And expand it. I'm going to choose a light brownish color. Pick the same color and choose a dark brown. And we're going to import our mind illustration. Go to our illustration, import the mind, and choose composition and layer size. Press OK. Drag the mind to our timeline. And there. Need to scale it down. Move it to the left. Move it. And place the text next to the mind. So we go into main composition and we're going to add some drop shadow to it. So go into effects, perspective, and drop shadow. Set the distance to 10 and softness 25. Copy the effect to the mind. And let's do the same thing for our text. Into your mind, turn off the background and choose same effect again. Set it 3 and softness to 5. Looks good. And copy the effect to the other two text layers. And that looks pretty good to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause this recording again and I'm going to do all the design for you so we can continue to the animation. So this is what we got.
To your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend, to your mind.
So let's continue with the animation. And we'll go into our empty your mind composition. And I want to animate the shape of the text. So we're going to use the mask tool. And we're going to set a keyframe for the mask. And what I want to do now is have this top value to the bottom value. So take this, copy the bottom and paste it on the top. Press OK. And choose the position and move it upwards. So now it seems like it's coming out of the empty text. We're going to use the same effect again for the mind. Press M for mask path. Set a keyframe. Click on this shape. We want the right value to be at the left value. Press P for position. And move it to the left. motion blur. And that looks pretty good to me. So we're going to use this same masking technique on that, and as well as over here. So I'm going to pause this recording and do the masking for you so we can continue with the other part of the animation. So this is what I've done while I paused the recording. Turn all the compositions into 3D, turn all the text into 3D and motion blur, and all the illustrations into 3D and motion blur. So let's preview.
To your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
So let's continue with the animation. And what I want to do is have the shapeless fly in. So go into a shapeless like water composition. Animate the position. Want to animate the Z position of the position. So move the shapeless layer -1000 pixels. And let's preview.
Shapeless, like this, shapeless.
Looks good. I want to animate the transition between now you put water in a cup and it becomes the cup. So what I'm going to do is add a null object and move the null object down to the now you put water into a composition. Turn it into 3D and move the null object down so it lines up with the text there. Parent the composition to the null. So if I rotate the null, the composition will rotate as well. And set the null object to 90 degrees. And parent it becomes the cup composition to the null. So we want to animate this and set it to 90. So the other composition comes up from the back of the other composition. And let's see here. I think we should move. I'm going to move the keyframes forward a bit. There's better. And we're going to extend the other composition. We're going to animate its position so it fades out when the other composition comes up. Animate the position of the transparency 0 so it fades. Let's see how that looks.
It becomes the cup. You put it becomes.
So that looks pretty good to me. So what I want to do now is animate the teapot word. And first of all, we're going to our teapot composition there. Delete this text. And go into our main composition and choose the scale property. So first of all, let's sync the teapot animation to the sound. Just need to scrub through the audio again and listen. There it says the teapot again. So scale and move the point of interest up. So it scales from the top. Set the scale to 110th. See how that looks.
It becomes the teapot. Now water
I think I'm going to scale this up even further, 120. Let's preview.
the teapot.
Much better. So what I want to do now is add the water stroke. So let's add a new layer and name this water stroke. Make comp size and move it down to now water can flow. And crop it down and we'll turn it off as well as text and add the show grid and add the snapsy grid. Turn off the background as well. Select the water stroke layer and select the pen tool. So we're going to draw the water stroke path with the pen tool. I'm holding down the shift so it snaps. It looks good. And add the stroke. Generate stroke. And set it to transparent. Let's turn off the show grid. Show grid there. Turn the background on again. Let's move it down. No, 3D. Scale it up. Scale it up. And move the water above the strokes. It's going to copy its drop shadow to the strokes. And that looks pretty good. Now we want to animate the start value of the stroke. Set a keyframe for the start. Press U to see all the keyframes for a layer. And set the start value to 100. Looks good. Motion blur as well. And let's make the floor. So new solid floor. And use the move it down first and crop it down. Let's use the mask tool and add the stroke again. And on transparent. Smooth the floor moved down. And let's add the drop shadow. Perspective. Drop shadow. And set it the direction to 0. Set the distance to 5 is alright. Softness to around 20. It looks pretty good. So now we're going to add the water splash. We can use this paint clip and drag it into the timeline. Line the animation up with the floor. Set the mode to screen and position it. Add the mask and set the mask to subtract. Just want to line this animation up with the text. Want to take away the little splashes of the splash, so we're going to mask that out and set to subtract. Let's see if it's alright with the syncing with the clip. So let's move the clip a bit backwards. That looks perfect. I just want to crop the movie clip down so it disappears when the be water comes. Now I want to animate the my friend words, so I'm going to delete the word friend. I'm going to type in that in the same word there, same layer. And go out down to our text layer there and choose the animate property. Select opacity. Drag the opacity down to 0 and go out into range selector and set a keyframe for the start. We want to line the animation up to the sound. There it ends. So set the start value to 100. And let's preview.
Be water, my friend. Be water, my friend.
So I think I'm going to drag the keywords a bit closer.
Be water, my friend. Be water, my...
Much better. So that's the end of part 1 of this Be Water tutorial. Tune into part 2 where we'll be making the water. See you soon.